Here it is, ready or not. It's full of twists and turns, ups, downs. But in the end, we learn, we grow. Every path each and every one of us take will be different. Every perspective that we have on the world will be unique. And ultimately, what it's going to come down to is a matter of attitude and how you present yourself in both the moments of fear and opportunity. Whether you like it or not, my friends, life is going to happen, and you've got to wear it well. For the first time in my life, I can truly say, I'm living life well. But living life well has never come easy. I've been taking a bit of time at Festival for the Future to reflect, and I realized, man, I've come such a long way since back in the day. And those exact words reminded myself of the first time I ever got on stage in front of a live audience. It was in my little mountain town, Mungaraki. And it was for Mungaraki Idol. And I was about to perform my favorite rap song by my favorite ever artist at the time, well, of all time at that time, Scribe. And I even went above and beyond and I remastered the lyrics and I called it Tommy Dreaming. And it went like this. Tommy came a long way since back in the day, from a little boy trying to make it rap in his way. Ever since he was a kid, he had something to say. Rocky Mike's, Tommy's dreams. He never cared about pain. He would sacrifice late nights, going out with friends, just to stay home alone with his pad and his pen. He had his eyes on his prize, reminding himself of the goals, and it went on and on and on. I think if Scribe ever gets to hear this, he's going to love my music. I looked over at the judges and I saw them talking to each other saying, why is this 12-year-old rapping about drugs and alcohol? What? Come on, who does he think he is? It reminded me, at 14, I tried alcohol for my very first time. At 15, I loved alcohol, but I hated life. And at 16, well, you could have called me a bit of a trendsetter because I firmly believed that I was probably New Zealand's first Indian emo. Crazy to think you go from hip-hop at 12 to screamo at 16. The next stage of my life changed quite a bit. Why? Because a principal of my school believed in me. In my final year of school, well, I'll be honest with you, I passed by 1 credit. I got achieved. Yes, come on. But at the same time, I started my first ever venture called Freedom. And the principal lent me his office at lunchtimes. It started with 7 kids, and by the end of year 13, over 175 students in my school had attended a Freedom session. And Freedom was about helping young Kiwi males make more accurate and better decisions. In the same year, I was nominated as a youth MP. At the age of 19, I went to university, and I'll be honest again, I only lasted 6 months. Why did I go to university? Well, simply because my father was going to take me to Fiji. And I knew that if I didn't go, maybe he wouldn't take me. Now, who's ever had that moment in life where you've got to be honest to your parents about something you know that from the minute you open your mouth, they're not going to be proud about and they're going to be instantly disappointed? Who's ever had one of those moments? Okay. Now, I want you guys to imagine that with one of your parents being Indian. Seriously. It's like another world. I remember I got back from Fiji, and in Fiji, Dad's like, oh, how's your uni going? I'm like, Dad, it's awesome. I'm like one of the most popular kids. I'm doing well. I'm getting A's. You know, I think I'm going to get an A. I didn't actually tell him that at the moment. And at that, honest, I'd already failed like 2 papers, and I barely even got a C, simply because I wasn't passionate. And I'm telling you what, if you do what you're passionate, what you love, you're destined to do well, and you're destined to work hard at it. So I remember it, I scripted it quite well. I was sitting with Dad, I'm like, hey Dad, look, really sorry man, like, I've only been going to class about 2 days a week. I'm not really passing, and I'm thinking I'm gonna drop out. And my father, like, maybe this is a bit over-exaggerated, but it went a bit like this. Oh my God, son, why did you let down the whole family? And it's like, hey, Dad, I'm only talking to you. Like, Mum's not here, brothers aren't here, sisters aren't here. Like, maybe I'm just letting you down, not everyone. Well, I redeemed myself. I went back to university, but this time I would do something that I loved and I was passionate about, knowing that when you love what you do well. Building off my days as a youth MP, I went back and I studied political science and public policy. Absolutely loved it. In my first year of university, I got my first ever A. Super exciting time. And what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is something that happened in my second year of university that has definitely changed who I am today. And in fact, probably without it, well, I don't even know if I'll be standing on the stage. It was 10 p.m. at night. I was at university finishing off an assignment the night before, as almost every student does. I start walking towards gate 6 of the university. I remember it so well. And as I walked through those doors, my body stopped. I fell to the ground. I woke up in a hospital. The next morning, I'm the first patient on the CT scan. The doctor's coming after. It's 8 a.m. And they said, Thomas, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but your brain is bleeding. They finished it by saying, and we want you to prepare for the worst. And that, my friends, is doctor's code for prepare to die. What I want to talk to you guys about is this experience. It's like you really do think it's going to be your last day, but there's some thoughts on that day that are stuck with me forever, and they completely change who I am, and I live with these beliefs and these ideas every single day. The first, the importance of giving thanks. If today was your last day, how would you like to leave your loved ones? What would you want that last conversation to be? You see, often those that we love the most are also the ones that we fight with the most. In this moment, I didn't have the chance to say goodbye, to say my thanks for all of those people that have given so much to making me into who I am. What would your last conversation be? Second thing, that it's okay to make mistakes. I probably learned as much from Super Mario growing up, the plumber, as I did from my teachers. Why? Because Super Mario taught me that you can get into a level and you can keep going, but if you fall off a cliff and you die, it's okay. You can just click pause, start, resume, rewind, whatever it is, and go back to the start of the level and try again until you get good enough to pass. Super Mario didn't teach me failure, it taught me success. And I look back at my life, and I realize that almost every year as a young person was a different theme. And the word that comes to mind, confusion. But you know, without mistakes, you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't have the wisdom or the knowledge that you have now. And lastly, this word that sticks with me now, legacy. Imagine if I was to come over you in the audience today with a pen and a paper, and Thomas says, hey, I want you to write down your legacy. Meaning, what are you leaving behind that is bigger than you for this world to inherit? What would you write on that piece of paper? It would take an entire year until I get the operation that I needed. And during that year, I had a focal seizure at least every day. I've had over 500 focal seizures and what my doctors would describe as 3 strokes. 2.5 years ago, this was me. Today, this is me. And from my recovery room, I started my second venture called the Knowledge Bank. The Knowledge Bank was about providing educational resources to New Zealand's most vulnerable children, a belief that my children are your children, and together we must raise up a generation of achievers. And that we can't just rely on one mechanism or one role model to educate our kids. And education is not just a personal or a family, but it's the community's responsibility. Two years later, I found myself here at Inspiring Stories, an organization with a bold vision. Imagine if every young New Zealander unleashed their potential to change the world. And that's you. Now, I want you guys to think about all the incredible people that you've met at Festival this year and how they have inspired you. And imagine if that voice could inspire you, you could go out and you could inspire a whole room of people. And if you can inspire the rooms, wow, you can inspire the communities. And if we can inspire communities, we can inspire cities and regions. And by inspiring the regions and the cities, we can inspire the whole of New Zealand. So never underestimate the power of your voice, because believe it or not, your voice can definitely change the world. I've been so fortunate in this position, and I'll be honest, to meet some really incredible people. I've met doctors born out of poverty, prime ministers raised in state houses, a girl on one of our programs who went to Vanuatu to be looked after by a lady that was blind, only to come back to New Zealand, do research to find out, hey, this is curable, and I want to do something about it. So my friends, whether you're born into a trust fund or you're born in the ghetto, I'm telling you right now, you can make it. And if I can leave you guys with any final thoughts tonight, just please do me one favor. Maybe it's a couple rolled together. Seize every single moment you have in the pursuit of your dreams. And in that process, please part ways with your fears. And please believe in yourself. I know more than most that your time is limited. And my friends, please don't spend your life living someone else's dreams. Thank you.